now I'm out. My attorney, while I'm out, the same place you said you got them from, saying we never got the search warrants. We don't get them, and they don't exist.
Monday morning, and it's Talking Racine. Good morning to you. We have Mr. George Myers over there on the far left.
Morning.
Mr. James Spodek here to my right. He's the producer of this show. I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen, your host, and we have a special guest this morning, Mr. James Barker.
How you doing?
And we're going to discuss a case that Mr. Barker has been enduring, I guess is the best way to put it, for over 3 years now. And it all started back in 2015. You at that time had an eBay business going, and you had hooked up with some people who worked at Cree Lighting, and they were buying lights at an employee discount.
Not some people. With
yeah.
A person.
And then you were reselling them on eBay and making a profit.
Right.
And then somehow or another, some of the people, there were a lot of people that worked at Cree Lighting that were doing this.
They fired the whole
the
whole shift.
But a couple of them were not paying for the lights.
Right. Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, and what they ended up doing was trying to connect you to the ones who actually were committing theft out at Cree.
Yes.
Which you had no relationship with.
None.
You had been acquiring these lights from somebody else, in fact.
Right.
So, on the 23rd of April in 2015, they decided to come and serve warrants on you and your family and your girlfriend and your store and all kinds of people.
Unsigned warrants.
Yeah, unsigned warrants, it turned out. But I mean, you didn't find that out until later on.
Yep.
And no-knock warrants at that.
Well,
the no-knock warrant really has got special circumstances that are imposed upon it that you can't just go to the judge and say, I want a no-knock warrant. You have to have a compelling reason. Like the person has got, we know that they got drugs in there and they're going to flush them down the toilet if we don't break down the door and get in there quick. Or they've got dogs in there, or they got guns in there, or something that. Some kind of special circumstances. None of which was true in your case.
Right.
But they got the no-knock warrants anyway. And came in and raided your place. You were actually at your parents' house at the time, is that correct?
No.
Or were you at your girlfriend's house?
My girlfriend's house.
And they called you on your mother's telephone, is that how it went?
Yeah, actually, the police report says I called them. I called my mother's phone, but the phone record shows that they called me.
Okay.
From my dad's phone. They
called you and they wanted to talk to you about...
they wanted to talk to you.
And you didn't know what it was about at the time.
No, I believe they woke me up out my sleep, so I believe, I just remember saying, can you come talk to me, come down to the LEC building and talk to me about some lights that's being stolen or something like that, and I agreed. I was like, yeah, okay, I knew where the LEC building was. I was like, yeah, I'll be there, so.
Law Enforcement Center.
Law Enforcement Center, yeah.
I was just about to say.
717 Wisconsin Avenue.
But you while you're having this conversation with them, basically they had woken you up.
Yeah.
So you said, oh, Jim, give me a chance to get myself together and I'll come down.
Right.
So you got up and you cleaned up a little bit, got some clothes on, stepped outside. And what happened when you stepped outside?
They rushed me. I was headed to my car. Soon as I got outside, I hear police. I hear a dog. I turn around. It's a K9 unit. I stopped, and they put me in handcuffs.
Now this is after you had agreed to voluntarily come down there and talk to them. Yeah. Instead, they met you at the door and surprised you and grabbed you.
Outside. Yep.
Took you off to jail.
Took me to jail.
Yeah, that was on the 23rd of April of 2015.
Yep.
Now you were on probation at the time, which means that, it's the common term is you're on paper.
Right. Yeah.
And so they wanted to. Now was it probation or parole? It was parole, wasn't it?
Probation.
Probation.
Yeah.
So they wanted to revoke your probation, and they took you to court on what day? You got in there on the 23rd.
Well, it's not a such thing as probation. I mean, parole anymore. They call it extended supervision.
Oh.
So I was on extended supervision when I was on, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that was from a drug case prior to this that you had
a drug
correct?
case, yeah,
Okay, so
something
you're
like that, yeah.
you're on probation or extended supervision. So then they picked you up on this charge, then held you on a probation hold,
I was
basically.
on a probation hold.
Yeah, so they called and said, no, we can't let him out, he's on a probation hold, and they came in and then talked to you about these lights that were being sold. I kind of want to go back a little bit on this lights that were being sold. Apparently, Cree had a policy at the time. If you worked there, you could get a reduction in the Creed lighting for family and friends, correct?
Yeah.
And it would send out, and then they would just ship them out. Is that how it went?
Yeah, they had a magazine, and so I don't really know I had never even, because the magazine said Econolite, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I didn't really know it was Cree in the beginning, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So 'cause the magazine said Econolite, and then they got a bunch of magazines. I mean, a bunch of lights.
Now,
and
who
stuff.
publishes the magazine?
It say Econolite, but I guess Econolite is a
Probably a
It's a
subsidiary.
subsidiary of
Cree.
Cree,
So
yeah,
Cree
yeah.
is publishing this magazine that you're
Yeah.
getting information about these lights.
yeah.
So
Okay.
somebody came up to you and said, hey, I got some lights for sale.
Actually, I met the guy while he was in the middle of selling them to a gas station. That's how.
Okay.
That's how I got the magazine at a gas station. I read the Sam Walton. Wait, what's his name?
Sam Walton?
Sam Walton book.
Right,
He got a great book, and he tell you. I always been interested in retail, selling retail, and then I read the Sam Walton book while I was doing time for the drug case in 2009. And when I got out, every time I go into a store, I no longer think like a consumer. I'm always wondering how did they get there, how many they buy at a time. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was at the gas station getting gas, and the guy was at the counter and he was selling the lights to the gas station owner, and I seen him going through the magazine. So as he like step aside, let me pay for my stuff, my gas, and then I go out. And then he came out shortly after me, and then I went and picked his brain, like, what's that you selling? What's that you got? And he was like, here, I can sell you, I got these lights right here, and I can give you all of them at a discount price. You know what I mean?
I just like something clarified. It
Yeah.
may be very insignificant. When I think of a magazine, it's got articles and things in it. Was this really a magazine, or was it more of a catalog?
A catalog, yeah, a catalog.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
A catalog.
Now that makes more sense. So
that
you're
makes
just
more
getting
sense.
information out of a catalog.
Catalog,
you're not
yeah.
reading articles or learning anything.
So they were a fairly good price. I think I talked about this a little earlier,
Yeah.
but they were a fairly good price. You were already selling on eBay, correct?
Yeah, I have been an eBay member since 2006,
Okay.
and so this started off in like 2014, and I
8 years later.
like 8 years later, yeah.
You already been on eBay for 8 years.
But the article says that the eBay page was created specifically to sell Cree lights. But I have
Well, when you say article, you're talking about the news story
the news
that
story,
the Journal Times put out
Put
about
out
this,
there, yeah.
this grand conspiracy that you're
and they
involved.
also got
Also-
me as a Cree employee, and I wasn't a Cree employee. And a lot of
Yeah.
people come up to me like, "Man, you was making a lot of money selling those Cree lights," and I'm like, "Man, you was out there killing them." I'm like, "Man, I ain't never worked at Cree." Most people still believe that I worked at Cree, like, because they had me, Josh Golden, and the Vila as 3 Cree employees plundering. You know what I mean? No, I
Lord
never
have
worked
mercy.
there. So people,
Well, just to be clear, the people that were plundering, that actually got caught plundering,
right?
you never had dealt with.
Never had dealt with. They went in.
The people you were buying from, is the best you know, were actually paying for the lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
They haven't even proved that the lights that I was selling was stolen. They just
They were
it's
Cree
stuff-
lights was all.
You
That's all-
had a seller's permit?
I got a wholesaler's issued from the state of Wisconsin, a wholesaler's reseller's license. I not only did, like, most people know me for vending. You know what I mean? I in my younger days I made bad decisions to use my I learned from the corner, basically. You know what I mean? I took those same aspects and when I got out, after I read that book, I used the things that I learned during my adolescent years and what Sam Walton taught me in that book, and I put it all together. You know what I mean? So I was, like most people, they see me at, you might come to the gas station, I'm the guy out there selling selfie sticks or movies, music.
Right,
That's
right.
what I was known for. Or, like, I sold the whole town the selfie stick before people even knew what a selfie stick was. I sold the whole town power banks, where there's a charger where you can charge your phone. The Amazon Fire Sticks, I was making like $1,000 a day at a time selling those. You know what I mean? So I'm always up on. I'm the guy that's always up
right.
on the technology.
You were
Out
hustling.
there hustling. Yeah, that's how I
got
do
it. Okay,
So
so
peddler.
Yeah.
The type of guy we've been talking about in our programs for years, Jim.
Right.
These entrepreneurs, there are intelligent people out there that know how to make money.
Well, I want to clarify one thing here. Now, you were on probation or parole or extended supervision or whatever they want to call it right now. But you were required to submit to drug tests periodically.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And did you ever come back positive?
Yeah, I came back positive. Like I had been on paper from 2009 to 2015. I think I came back positive like in 2010. My PO put me in jail like for like 3 days or something like that. And after that, I was clean.
So,
I knew, look, this ain't worth it. You know
so
what I mean?
from 2010 to 2015, you had never tested positive.
Never tested positive.
That's important information.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
And she testified to that.
So these lights are being sold. The cops say, "Listen, James Barker, you must be involved in this somehow. So we're picking you up. We're hiking you off to jail." The PO says, "Hold him. He's on a probation." So we got him on a probation hold. You're in jail. They come in. They interview you. At this point, what happens?
They interviewed me. It started off very crazy because like I only know what the police officer said over the phone, and then it caught me off guard. I'm thinking I'm coming downtown to learn more information, but I'm arrested. You know what I'm saying?
They're just getting out the door.
Right, you know what I mean?
Take the door open.
Yeah, so and then I'm just waking up, so like everything's trying to come to me, but I know one thing is, don't talk to the police. They're not your friend. They're not finna try to help you out. Their job is to build a case on you, so I'm not gonna talk to you. I need to talk to the attorney first. You know what I mean?
Well, especially if they put you in handcuffs. That's a good sign right there.
You already lied to me in a minute. You said, we just want to talk to you, and I get outside, and you arresting me. You know what I mean? Throwing me in jail, treat me bad. So
Now, which police department was this?
the sheriff department.
Sheriff's Department.
Yeah,
Racine
yeah.
County Sheriff's Department. Okay.
Okay.
So I get downtown. I say I don't want to talk without the president attorney, and so they put me in the holding cell. They put me in the what they call a bullpen, and the bullpen is one big room where they have everybody in there, 10, 20 people. People sleep on the floor. They got a little hard brick bench, and then they got like individual cells where it could be 2 to a cell, then they got some 1 to a cell. So I'm in there. Then they come and move me. They say we got to move you because you can't be around this type of some witnesses and this and that and whatever. I don't even know who these people are. So they moved me to a cell with 2. And then they came and moved me for the same reason. You can't be around this person. They moved me again to a cell with 1. And then while I was at the cell 1, now I'm trying to use the phone. I'm trying to call home, trying to figure out what's going on. And you usually get the right to use the phone. And so the guard come by and she says, he or she is why she says, I actually use the phone. They well your phone privilege has been revoked until you talk to the police. They want to talk to you. If you don't talk to them, we ain't gonna feed you, and you're not gonna use the phone. And they didn't let me use the phone for like 2 days. But anyway, so
Did they feed you for those 2 days?
they fed me like on the second day. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, so
That strikes me as being a little illegal.
so I say, okay, I'll talk.
Strange, at least.
Weight loss.
I don't know if it's legal or not.
No,
It's very strange.
it's not legal.
Yeah. So after about 6 hours, maybe sooner. You know what I mean? It seemed like forever when you're in there. But she come back through, so you're not going to talk to the deputy? I'm like, to the investigator, I'm like, okay, yeah, I talk to him. So I go in there, and I'm trying to pick their brain. I'm like, I'm not finna talk to y'all unless if I say anything about anything, I need my PO here, and I need the district attorney. I need 100% immunity. I'm not finna make any, I'm not finna say anything that can possibly incriminate myself or anybody else, basically. So they're like,
By the
well,
way, I would just advise him that very good advice.
You know what I'm saying?
You learn not to, because anything you can say can be used against you.
Go right.
Can and will be.
No.
Yeah, that's right. It's you don't want to talk to anybody in that situation other than without.
Right, yeah, never.
present.
So, and my PO, because even though, you know what I mean, even though you may say this, they can say, well, we're still going to revocate you. You know what I mean? So that wasn't the deal. So I said, well.
So when did you actually go in for the first revocation hearing?
That was November 23rd, 2015.
Okay.
So this is how
November-
long after this incident you were just telling us about?
That's, well, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 7 months later.
7 months later.
7
So
months.
now we're removed
Wait,
7
that's
months.
longer than that. April, May, June, because I was in jail 10 months, right?
Yeah.
From April to November.
7 months.
Yeah, 7 months.
That's 7, okay, all right.
So you're in jail 7 months. Now at this point, now they're going to take you to a revocation hearing.
And the revocation hearing is revoking what?
Parole.
Extended, like, okay,
extended supervision.
I got sentenced to, I believe, 2 in, 3 out for the drug case, and I had a bail jump and something else. So I did the 2 years in which they accidentally sent me to prison to do the 2 years again. It's a long story, but anyway.
Let me intercede just real quick because you threw bail jumping in there.
Right.
Quickly explain how you got the bail jumping charge. Were you not incarcerated
Yeah.
at the time they charged you with?
That
bail
was a
jumping?
separate one. That was a separate one. Okay.
Okay.
My initial bail jumping was I was a juvenile. It was my first time ever going to jail. 16, instructing. I was on the corner talking to a girl. The police said, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm like, "What you want my name for?" We just talking. You know what I mean? And so I was one of those guys that was kind of, you know what I mean? And I did this to the police. He said, "Hey, come here." You know what I mean? And I knew I done said a little bit too much. When I do come to him, it's not going to be good. So I decided to run. That was my first. So I ran. They caught me, and I went to jail on a obstructing. And while I was in jail on that, while I was out on bond for that, I bonded out for $300. Then I was in detention. I still was going to juvenile detention. So when the court date came for that adult case, I was in detention. They didn't take me to court.
So that's
So
what
I ended up with
resulted
a
in
warrant.
that's what resulted in the bail jumping.
Yeah.
In jail. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that because you say a bail jumping and people out there are liable to think, oh, he had a court date, he didn't show up, he was
Right.
probably done in Kentucky.
Yeah, no, I was in the juvenile facility at the time.
So that carries along. So you never get bonding because you never
Right.
keep bond out for bail because you've got this bail
Bail
jumping
jumping.
hanging
all right, so
over.
now back to revoking. Are they going to revoke you? I ask them to revoke the bond so that you can get out, or they're going to revoke.
They're gonna
What
revoke.
are they gonna do?
They're gonna revoke me for 2 years to send me back to prison.
So when this hearing comes up in November, they're going to come up and say, James, if we've got enough evidence on you, we're going back to prison.
You're gonna do the rest of the time
Okay.
that we stayed for the drug case.
Right.
Got it.
So you had another
So
couple
you're
years.
essentially revoking your bail, or you're revoking.
No,
Well,
revoking-
no, what it
are you
is
revoking?
well, it used to be called probation. Now it's extended supervision or parole.
Okay.
There's a, kind of a mishmash.
Okay, they're
of
revoking
terms.
extended.
But basically, what it
extended
means is
provision.
he's out on the streets while he's under supervision
Right,
for a charge that he was serving. In lieu of being in jail, he's being
On the street,
supervised.
right.
right, and they're revoking
So
that to put you back in jail.
That's what they want to do.
That's-
That's
got
what the
it.
hearing is about, to
Right,
find
so
out if that they have
I'm with
enough
you.
evidence
Thank
to
you
do
very
that.
much. I got it now.
Okay, so November 23rd, you're going in front of the, or December 23rd. What was it?
November.
November?
Yeah.
You're going in front of the revocation hearing. So you go there. Okay, explain that a little bit.
We at the time I had just fired David Sedano,
And that was a previous attorney.
previous attorney. That was my initial attorney, David Sedano.
Okay.
And then I found out some corrupted stuff that was going on with attorney David Sedano. It was a chain of things. Like he was never
Well,
consistent.
don't go down that rabbit hole,
And
man.
that rabbit hole's-
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So then I hired Mark Nielsen to revocate for my revocation hearing in my criminal case, and so
So during this change of attorneys, you must still be in jail then, right?
yeah, I'm in jail the whole
You're still
time.
in
At this
jail.
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Non-stop.
Trying to get up for a revocation hearing with a decent attorney.
That's mandatory. You can revocate yourself, or you can have a hearing to contest the revocation. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm contesting the revocation. So
All right, and you're trying to get a good attorney in the meantime. Also.
right. So I think I got a great attorney: Mark Nielsen, Mark Richards, Pat Cafferty. They're the head of honchos down there that's getting all the money. But yeah, so
That's why people love this show.
yeah, so it's all going in their pockets.
So anyway, tell us what happened at the revocation hearing.
Well,
And by this time, are you representing yourself, or you?
no, I got Mark Nielsen.
You're so Mark Nielsen.
Now, me and Mark Nielsen are already clashing because I'm trying to bring forth at the revocation hearing how I know these search warrants ain't fake. I mean, it ain't authentic. They're fake search warrants and the affidavits and all that. So I got all this information. But for some reason, Mark Nielsen don't want to talk about the search warrants at all. He'll talk about the THC and all the other evidence that's not legitimate, but he would not bring up the search warrants. He keeps trying to tell me that it's insignificant. And I'm like, how is this insignificant? So at the revocation hearing, before the revocation hearing, I had prepared a bunch of questions for the officers. I prepared a bunch of evidence for the officers and everything because I was like, right after I hired him, I knew something wasn't right. So we get in the revocation hearing. We subpoenaed like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 deputy investigators, and the state also subpoenaed about 4. And we get there, none of them show up. Only one, Brian Van Sock. So during the revocation hearing, he get caught up lying. It's a documentary called Corruption at 717. It's his testimony. He lied. Everything he said was a lie. That's how I beat the revocation hearing. And on top of that, I was open with my PO about what I was doing. I told her I'm selling products on eBay. And I everything that, and so she testified. Yeah, James told me about what he's doing, his eBay store and his for real deals and stuff like that.
All right, we got to back up just a second because you dropped something there that people out there are going to wonder what the heck was that all about. You mentioned THC.
Oh,
and we hadn't mentioned that until you said it at that moment.
Okay.
Now the THC came into play. You were arrested on the 23rd of April.
Right.
On the 26th of April.
Yep.
They submitted some THC in what's called a grinder as evidence.
Yes, it's a tobacco grinder.
Now, allegedly, they found it on the 23rd.
Right.
They submitted as evidence on the 26th.
Yeah, it just popped up in evidence.
And it's supposed to, anything that goes in as evidence is supposed to be within 24 hours of when it's...
It's supposed to be a chain of custody. Like, if all of us in the house and we're searching, if Jim find it, he has to photo it, mark it, and...
Put it in a bag. Every time it changes hands, it's got to be signed.
If he handed it to me, he got to let him know. I gave it to James Barker at what time, date, and then all the way up to his inventory.
Okay, now before we go any further,
what's THC, by the way? Can we just
tetrahydrocannabinol.
It's
the
marijuana.
psychoactive ingredient in marijuana or
Good.
cannabis.
Weed.
Yeah.
So whatever you call it.
novices, I never heard of it before.
But where they found this was at your girlfriend's house.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly found this. And what they actually found, to the best of your knowledge, was a grinder, which is used to prepare it, which was empty.
Right.
But they found some residue in it at your girlfriend's house, and the way they linked it to you is you had left a bank deposit slip at her house?
With her address on it.
It was with her address on it.
Okay, it's my name, her address, so basically saying I'm using that address.
Oh, okay.
It says James Barker.
But as a result of that piece of paper, this grinder that they found, which you say belonged to her and was empty actually,
Right.
but they're linking it to you, and somehow it magically got marijuana in it between the 23rd and the 26th,
Yeah,
and it was submitted as
it ended
evidence.
up filled with marijuana.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who smoked marijuana, or even if you just use the tobacco grinder to grind tobacco, that's the step once you get to grind it, you probably got your papers or something ready to roll it up in. I mean, you're not going to grind it up and just leave it filled with. You know what I mean?
But another thing here, hold on, because it's not just that we're taking sides with somebody that we've become familiar with and impugning the integrity of the police department. There's going to be some more stuff coming down the pike later on, so just hold your horses before you say them guys are in bed with that guy. Right. He's guilty as hell. Hang on.
Now,
okay.
Let me mention this. On December 8th when I went down there because they say they found this marijuana. The reason why they charged me with this in the criminal complaint, it says because they found the tobacco grinder next to some mail, 2 pieces of identifier mail with that address. So I have been requesting that mail since the beginning of the time, April of 2015. So finally on December 8th, 2017, they finally give me those 2 identifiers. Neither of the identifiers got my girlfriend's address. You got one of the identifiers, which was Landmark Credit Union, my bank. It got my PO. Well, it got my PO box, and then the other identifier don't even got an address on it at all. It just got the store, my name, the name of my store written on it. You know, it's no address. So
it's weak at best.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about the weakness for a moment, because it's fairly simple to get somebody revoked. I mean, it's a pretty low bar. If you've done anything at all, it's not like you're going to trial. You just go in, and if they got any evidence that you've been misbehaving, you're revoked. Bye-bye, off to jail.
A police officer come in and said I did something wrong.
But you go through this revocation hearing, and the court determines that the officer who was testifying against you was BSing.
Yeah, he uncooperated.
So they
unreliable.
did not revoke you.
They didn't revoke
They
me.
put you back out.
Well, they dropped my
They dropped the charge, right?
they dropped the allegations, which
Yeah.
means now all I have to do is post cash bond for the criminal charges. They
But
got
they,
out of
for first, but but let's just go back to on the November the 23rd, or whatever, the December or November, they said, well, the officers didn't show and this one was questionable, so we're going to give it another shot. So they actually had another revocation hearing
Oh, that's right,
in
yeah.
December.
Yeah, no, in
So-
January.
Or
in
January.
Yeah.
So you were still incarcerated during this period of time. So in January, you had another incarceration or a
revocation.
revocation hearing, and at that time, explain that.
Well, by that time, I had finally got rid of Mark Nielsen as an attorney. I fired him, and I represented myself. Subpoenaed Lieutenant, I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe I subpoenaed Lieutenant Shulman. I know Sheriff Detective Jonathan Massey, Brian Van Sock, Sheriff Deputy Investigator Donald Vandervest. I subpoenaed Kristen Chapman. I subpoenaed Kristen Chapman is Cree employee, and in the paper it said that I made $90,000 selling Cree product, and they said they got the information from her, and so that's why I subpoenaed her. None of them showed up.
Nobody.
Nobody.
So these are legitimate subpoenas, went out to somebody, and they don't show up. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm subpoenaed. If I don't show up, usually, I mean,
Yeah, there's a penalty for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I
They're
think
not showing up to.
what it seems to me is they realized that there was no,
Well, in
no
this
value
case-
in them showing up
Yeah,
because there was
right.
no case
In this
against
case, the penalty is they have to let him go.
right.
That's basically what it is.
So basically, nobody showed up.
But you swear on the
The
oath.
second one,
I believe if you serve a subpoena, I believe you could face potential jail time. But they don't even talk about that. I mean, they skipped out on two. They was all subpoenaed twice. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
Yeah.
none of them showed up.
It's actually contempt of court.
Contempt of court,
yeah.
Which can lead
Yeah,
to jail.
but if you
Yeah.
contempt of court, that's one thing. But officer contempt of court, that's another.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Basically,
well,
it's a double standard. But okay, so now you're now they say, well, James, we don't have anything to hold you on, so you're released. You have to set bond now. You have to give them a certain amount of cash or
Right.
put up property or whatever.
Right.
And how much was that?
15,000 cash.
Cash. So
Yeah.
you had to round up $15,000 worth of cash.
Yep.
So you put the 15,000 up, and then now you have to go to. Now you're on a court. Now you have to start going to court on a regular basis to start to defend yourself. At this point, am I correct?
Yes.
Now, I'd just like to go back one step, because you said earlier on when you first went to the revocation hearing, there was something wrong with the search warrants, did you say? They were.
Yeah. I had found out. I was skeptical because David Sedana gave me blank search warrants with the wrong issue date. All those search warrants was allegedly executed and issued on April 23rd. But when Sedana gave me the search warrants, the issue date on them was June 23rd. During that time, I was in jail. It wasn't nothing getting raided. The case was already, you know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right. It was April 23rd. Was that when they gave you the phone call to get you to come out the door?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So-
So all the search warrants that were involved then were all dated in June, right?
Well, the search warrants that they gave him to show that
Four
they
of them had
that
done,
just-
done that on
they're-
April 23rd were all dated
June
June
23rd. Wrong issue date. No judge signature. Affidavits ain't sworn to. No notary public signature.
Now hold on, you're going
Oh.
to some pretty heavy duty stuff here. Wait a minute. No judge's signature on the search warrant.
No judge's signature.
Now
Right.
it's got to be. I mean, in the Constitution of the Fourth Amendment, it's got to be under a judicial
Yeah.
authority, and it's got to be a sworn affidavit.
It got to be. Well, it's several different ways you can get a search warrant. You do sworn affidavit or testimony. But like for instance, you can call a judge, but he got to record the phone conversation. So it's several different ways. But all these search warrants was allegedly issued upon affidavit.
Now, because this comes from the Constitution of the United States, the search warrant has to be upon probable cause. That means there has to be something indicating that there's a reason for this, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Now, you're saying that none of that was in those search warrants.
Those search warrants were allegedly issued upon Wisconsin Statutes 968.12, which is warrant upon affidavit. They don't follow the Fourth Amendment. They don't follow the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. They don't follow the Wisconsin Constitution. they don't follow the law.
Well, it sounds to me almost like they were holding up a blank form
Yeah, I got it on
that has
paper.
to be filled out
Yeah.
with the oath of affirmation and with the thing to be searched, a place to be searched, and the things to be seized. But they didn't fill any of that out. All they had was a.
No.
Okay,
is
so
that right? Is that a good description?
So what's
of it?
happened here
That's a
after
little
you're
crazy.
out, after you were released from jail, from the revocation hearing, and he released you, you posted bond. Now you're out. Now you're saying, boy, these warrants look funny. They're not being. They don't look correct. So then you went on the hunt to try to find on your own, or you had gotten a public defender at that
No,
point?
I hired a new attorney
Okay.
named Tony Young, and she when I was in jail, I got copies of the search warrants signed. Well, I got warrants from David Sedana twice. The first one that was all dated unsigned and dated June 23rd.
Okay.
Issue date
Uh-huh.
June 23rd. And then when I started saying, "Hey man, I want to see signed search warrants."
You want to see the original search warrant?
Yeah, let's see the real one.
Right.
So after a whole bunch of runaround, all of a sudden he pop up with not all of like say he gave me 30 different warrants. When he when he finally gave me signed ones, it was only like 8. So I'm like, where's the balance of those? You know what I mean? You didn't give me all of them signed. You only gave me some of them. So by that time, I knew he was corrupted. So I fired him, hired Mark Nielsen, and asked Mark Nielsen to give me the balance of the warrants and show me the originals. And so Mark Nielsen gave me warrants. And once Mark Nielsen gave me warrants, the signed warrants Mark Nielsen gave me wasn't consistent with the signed warrants David Sedana gave me. So now I got, to my house alone, 1412 West 6th Street, it's 4 different warrants with different information on it.
All for the same search.
All from the same search.
All on the same
different,
day.
So at
different
that
dates,
point-
different description of the house, different filing times. So when I get out, my main agenda now is my new attorney. I had her put in a discovery request to the DA to get the original search warrants. And so when she went and picked up the discovery from the DA office, Patricia Hansen left discovery, but she kept it'll only be like 20 police reports, no warrants in it.
So to make things real clear for everybody, you got on a quest. I mean, you saw all of these copies and none of them looked legitimate.
None of them.
So you decided, I want to see the originals.
I went to they said they supposed to.
And you went to literally every place that could possibly be holding them. And what was the results?
The clerk of court told me out their own mouth.
They don't exist?
Told me and my attorney, these warrants don't exist.
Now that would be a good reason to be able to not revoke, take away.
Well, he already beat the revocation.
Yeah, he's already beat that.
Okay, all right.
Because somebody's probably had to ask that in court.
Well,
And
it's
said,
no
hey,
wonder-
where are
yeah.
these warrants? And they don't show up with them.
It's
Well,
no
what are
wonder
we
they
doing
couldn't
here?
meet the low bar that you were talking about, Doc,
Right.
for keeping a
Right.
person in jail. They couldn't meet that. Well, because there isn't a single search warrant in the place.
But see,
Wow.
like for instance, the clerk of court told me and my attorney on April 14th, the search warrants don't exist. But I had a arbitration fee dispute hearing on August 3rd with Mark Nielsen of 2016, and I was suing him. I gave Mark Nielsen 10 grand, and I was suing him. We made a deal for him to give me back half my money. But then when my girl went to go get the money, he tried to give her $3,500, and I was like, nope, I want 5. So then that led to the arbitration fee, and he thought that I was after the money. But my whole thing was, I want you to swear on the oath where you got those warrants from that you gave me while I was in jail. Because all of a sudden, while I'm in jail, I asked for warrants, y'all can give them to me. But now I get out.
Here's what I'm
Where are
thinking.
they?
Now, I'm just going to throw this on the table. My guess is you're a guy with a criminal record.
Mm-hmm.
You're on probation. You've got, a history of it. They now find you possibly thinking you worked at Creed. You obviously did not work there.
Right.
Part of the conspiracy. We're going to pick this guy up. We'll throw him in jail. We'll never see this guy again. They're going to revocate him. He's going to go to prison for 2 years. So whatever we really give him, it isn't going to matter. I mean, it's going to take forever for him to get any kind of information, and any kind of seeking justice is going to take quite a while.
Right, because if you're in prison, like, I have no access to the clerk of court. I have to write and ask people to send
Right.
me these documents.
So
and
when
stuff.
you actually were, when your revocation was not, when they denied it, or however you put it, had gotten
They
out.
revoked the revocation.
Yeah, you got out. I don't think I suppose at that point now it's like, holy, what's this guy doing? Who the hell is this guy to come in and start asking for warrants and start questioning the process that we arrested you on
And they had been sloppy apparently and never actually completed
And I
them.
think that's part of it.
And on top of that, Mark Nielsen testified under oath that he got the warrants from the Racine County Felony Case Office. He said he spent the entire morning of December 7th going through all the original search warrant and affidavit records inside the Felony Case Office. So me and my attorney, Tony Young, went to where he said he got them from, and they said they don't exist. So how did you spend the entire morning going through them inside of the Felony Case Office? When now I'm out, my attorney, while I'm out, the same place you said you got them from, saying we never got the search warrants. We don't get them, and they don't exist.